Have you ever backed out of something you really wanted, just because you were afraid to fail? You dreamed about it, you planned it, maybe you were even just one step away. But then something inside said, "You're not ready. What if you mess this up? What if they see you fail?" Sounds familiar? You're not alone. Today, we're diving into something that holds so many of us back, sometimes for years, without us even noticing: the fear of failure. But here's the good news. Once you understand where this fear comes from and how it tricks your mind and body, you can take back control. So let's break it down. Why does fear show up even when we're so close to something amazing? And what can we actually do to stop it from running our lives? Let's start at the beginning. Fear of failure usually doesn't come from the future. It comes from the past. At some point, maybe you failed a test, got embarrassed in front of others, were rejected, or told that you weren't capable. And when those things happened, your brain didn't just store the memory. It stored the emotion that came with it. Fear is your brain's way of trying to protect you. It sees a potential risk and pulls you back before you get hurt again. Which makes sense, right? Except the danger isn't always real anymore. And the problem begins when we let that fear decide for us. So how do you know when this fear is actually running your life? Well, it doesn't always look like panic or full-on breakdowns. It often shows up in quieter, more subtle ways. Maybe you can't sleep well, or you keep forgetting things, even when you're trying your best to focus. Maybe you feel constant tension in your shoulders or jaw. You get sick more often, have digestive problems, feel exhausted for no clear reason. You doubt yourself even before you begin. These are all signs that your mind is preparing for failure, even when the threat isn't really there. So what can you do when fear starts to take over? Here's the truth. You don't have to erase fear. You just have to keep it from paralyzing you. Let me show you something simple but powerful. When fear hits, whether it's before a big presentation, a test, or an important conversation, your nervous system lights up. Your heart races, hands sweat, breathing gets shallow. That's your fight or flight system. But you can take back control by giving your brain and body something to focus on. Here's how. First, fix your eyes on something real and close, not the imagined disaster in your head. Stay in the now. Second, feel with your hands. Touch something. A railing, a piece of fabric, cold metal. That physical sensation brings you out of imagination and back into your body. Third, speak. Out loud. Count random numbers. Say a phrase. Sing a song. Recite a poem. Anything to use your voice. Why does this help? Because when your vision, touch, and voice are all engaged, your brain has no space left to run its scary movie. That's the real trick. You're not erasing fear. You're simply giving it no room to grow. But here's something deeper to consider. A lot of the fear we carry isn't even about what's coming. It's about what already happened. Your brain stores certain memories with high emotional charge, especially when you felt embarrassed, powerless, ashamed, or unsafe. And here's the fascinating part. Your emotions don't respond to facts. They respond to images. You can know something logically, but still feel fear because of how you picture it in your mind. Here's a fun example. Imagine watching a horror movie at night, alone, in the dark with surround sound. Now imagine watching the exact same movie the next morning, in a bright kitchen, with funny music playing. It's the same movie, but you don't feel the same. Why? Because your brain reacts to context and emotional tone, not just content. Now let's talk about how to change the way your brain reacts to old negative memories. Here are a few techniques that can help. First, change the mental image. Take a memory that makes you anxious. Now shrink it. Make it black and white. Imagine it on a tiny old TV in the corner of the room. Turn the volume down. Add some funny music in the background. You're not pretending it didn't happen. You're just taking away its emotional charge. Second, imagine a new ending. Let's say you remember freezing up in a conversation. Now imagine that you stood tall, answered confidently, and left the room proud. Play that version in your head again and again. And here's something truly amazing. If you repeat that new version enough times, your body will start to respond as if it were real. In fact, if you were hooked up to a lie detector, you might even pass. Why? Because your brain and body are reacting to the version you've mentally rehearsed, not necessarily the one that actually happened. Your nervous system can't always tell the difference between a repeated thought and a lived event. That's how powerful your mind is. You can also shift the meaning of a memory. Let's say something didn't go the way you wanted. At first, you saw it as a failure. But later, maybe you realize it was a turning point. It helped you change direction, grow stronger, or become more honest with yourself. Changing the meaning changes the memory, without erasing it. Sometimes the things we thought broke us were actually shaping us. So here's what I want you to take from all this. Fear isn't proof that you're weak. It's proof that your mind is trying to protect you, sometimes in the wrong way. You're allowed to feel afraid, but don't let fear make your choices. Use your senses. Use your voice. Use your imagination, not to scare yourself, but to retrain your brain. And most importantly, you are not your past. Your future isn't written in fear, unless you let it be. If this message helped you, give the video a like and subscribe to My Best Self. Our team will be very grateful. And let me know in the comments, what's one fear you're ready to face? And reframe. You've got this. Thanks for watching. See you next time.